Let's go through the initial configuration on a Nintendo Switch 2. So once you turn off your console, first we have the language selection. So in my case, of course, I'm gonna choose English, and then we need to choose our region. In my case, it is Europe. Over here we have the important information about the console. So once you check that out, we can proceed. And then we can connect to our Wi-Fi network. So if you want to connect to your Wi-Fi, you should be able to find it over here on this list. And then once you select it, you have the option to enter the password. If you want to, you can actually search again. So if you press Y, you should be able to refresh the list of Wi-Fi networks. And if you go back, you can skip this process for now by pressing X. So let me actually connect to Wi-Fi. Alright, connection successful, so let's proceed. And then we have the option to choose our time zone. So in my case, it is this one. And then you can also transfer data from your old Nintendo Switch. So if you have Switch 1, you should be able to transfer pretty much everything from Switch 1 to your new Switch 2. In that case, you want to choose Start System Transfer. If you don't have Switch 1, or if you don't want to transfer data for some reason, you can choose Don't Transfer. However, keep in mind that you won't be able to have that option again until you actually perform factory reset of the console. So let's just proceed. Over here we have the information about the stand. Now we have the instructions telling us to remove the right Joy-Con. So over here we have this button that we need to hold, and then you should be able to detach the Joy-Con. And we need to do the same thing with the left one. So over here, just hold the button and then pull it out. All right, so now we can press A on our Joy-Con. The Joy-Cons are still working, they are wireless. Over here we have the option to connect to a TV, but of course we can just choose later. Over here we have the attachment guide, so you can use straps for your Joy-Cons if you want to. However, we're gonna skip that. Over here we have the play mode. We can choose a style that you can that suits us at any point, which just means that if you want to, you can attach Joy-Cons to the console so that you can use it like this. You can detach them to use Joy-Cons wirelessly, or you can put your console into the dock and connect your console to TV. Alright, let's proceed. Then we have the option to add a user. You can also sign into your Nintendo account. If you want to, you can just do that later and you will create your user first. And later on, if you, for example, open Nintendo eShop or something, you will have an option to add your Nintendo account. So in this case, I'm gonna actually sign into a Nintendo account, especially if you had Switch before. If you had Switch 1, then most likely you want to choose this option and connect your Nintendo account with your Switch again. In this case, you will find the QR code that you need to scan. You can also use other sign-in methods. However, I believe your smartphone will be the quickest and best way to connect your Nintendo account. After you sign into your Nintendo account, we need to wait for the next screen to appear. And in my case, I have my user back. Of course, if you didn't sign in to your Nintendo account, you will have the option that allows you to create a user first. So you will have the option to set up your nickname and so on. So just follow the instructions that you will see, and after that, we can proceed. So once you see this information that user has been added to the system, we can just press OK in order to proceed. Of course, we can add multiple users at once if you want to. However, in my case, I only need one, so I'm just gonna skip over here. Next, you have the option to set up parental controls. So if you want to set up your Switch 2 for your child, then of course you can select this option and then follow the instructions in order to set up parental controls. Simple as that. However, if the Switch is just for you, then of course you can skip this process. Now, if you have micro SD Express memory card, you should be able to insert it into the console. If you want to do that, first of all, we need to turn it around. Over here, we need to lift this stand, and here we can insert our memory card. In my case, unfortunately, I don't have the Express memory card, so I have to skip that. And the setup is complete. Of course, we can go to the home now by pressing the home button. There we go, we have the Switch 2 logo on this screen, and you should be able to see the home screen in just a second. And there we go. That's pretty much it. Now you can start downloading games, etc., or buying them on eShop. Thanks for watching, leave a like and subscribe.